daddy that does not pamper. He does not mince words. Please, with standing ovation, let us invite on stage Mr. Femi Jubal as he takes us through on the journey of numerology. Please give him a standing ovation. He deserves it.
Thank you. Okay. You may have your seats. Thank you. It's going to be a great night. I was telling a group of people this morning during the virtual session when we were listening to Israel. He was talking about esotericism. And I was telling them, I said, do you guys know why I came online to come and start teaching these things? And they're like, why? And I said, because I discovered principles I was toying with and playing with. And I got to the point where I felt I could do anything because I knew these things. And I tried these principles in Lagos several times and it worked. And I said, I would dump everything and take a bigger risk and go to Abuja. And I came to Abuja, and in less than 8 months, push. And in 8 months, I was in real estate, closing deals, and my friends in Lagos said, this guy is sleeping with men. Because it is impossible for somebody. And I'm just trying to give you a backdrop to the whole story so you can understand that universal principles work. And I said, let me take another risk. And it was a crash, right? Went down to nothing. Went from moving to a city with just books, right? And staying in a guy's house called Magic. He's a producer. His name is Magic. He's produced for all these what is it? No. Adekunle Gold's wife. Simi. This guy's name is Magic. He's very popular. From staying with him to owning my own property and buying. Then the graph, I got here and I'm like, I'm tired. Push. And then I said, okay, let me walk these things again. Let me plot the graph. And it was from that valley went up again. I've always tried this thing. And guess what? I got used to it that I'm like, I can do anything I want. So I became very familiar with universal principles. And then the second time we did it again, went from and then came down to nothing. Then from nothing, you build it again and then you come up. Experimenting, like, okay, let me experiment again. And then it got to a point I said, this thing has become so easy. Why is everything so easy? And I said, okay, let me just dump everything and leave Nigeria. I've traveled on holiday, but I was like, let me just leave. This one is not holiday, let me just leave. And start from a new place, further my education, and see if these principles really work. And I went to the Middle East because I said, okay, I want to go to a place where you have every country represented, a global village. And I went to Dubai and I got there and I suffered only for 3 months. After 3 months, it was bish. I was like, okay, he's walking again. And after I finished studying, I was doing internship with these 4 companies who used to send me on, assignments to some of these Fortune 500 companies. And they were telling me, when you finish school, we are going to give you, just stay, would like to work with us. But as soon as I finished, 2 days later, I had only 170,000. If you convert the RAM to Naira, 170,000 Naira. And I said, no, I don't want to work with you. I'm going back to Nigeria. And everybody thought, you are actually mad. Because guess what? At that point, I was going back to nothing. The businesses I left were all crashed. People crashed the businesses. You know, the days of when boat was still fresh, right? Nobody knew about boat. I bought about 14 cars before I left. And my sister, my family fought me. She said, you always do things for strangers. Only strangers. They wreck you. But in less than 3 months of being in Dubai, everything crashed. So money was not coming. So the years I spent studying, I knew I was coming back to nothing. But over there was something. I had a best friend. I had someone I was dating who is Emirati Egyptian. So humanly speaking, I should stay there. Yeah. And I had an Indian friend who had properties who I was working with. I paid rent in Dubai only for 3 months. So when people tell me they suffered in Dubai, the racism, I'm like, I never experienced that. I don't know what that is. I was treated like a king by people who are not Africans. And then I left that and said, no, I'm going back to Nigeria. I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. And I got here. I landed at the airport with 170,000 naira. And then when the money finished, I said, okay, now, it's now time to walk this thing again. So I had a friend who is currently serving as in the House of Assembly who said, I have one place for you since you are homeless. So that people will not know you are in Nigeria and you are homeless. Where you can, you know, there's a difference between you have always been poor, right? And then you've tasted money. And then you went down to 500 naira being rocket science. Like when you see, you have to manage, okay, this 500, and I'm very allergic to a lot of things. My body does not like poverty. So I will buy a kara 100 naira in the morning, I will eat it and I will fall sick for 5 days. And they will tell me, it's the oil. I'm like, kai, oil. So I can't eat just any oil. Your body doesn't like just anything. And then I was there and I said, no, it's time to work this. And every time I got to that place where it was like a brick wall, like a lot of people are in that place now, they don't know what to do. So I got to that place like, but I know what to do. Okay, I have suffered enough. Let me now work this. And I worked it. And I said to myself, this is the last time. Because guess what? It's working is working. By the time you get to 60 years old, there's no strength. I said, I don't want to crash again. I don't want to take any of those stupid risks again. And then we started working it. Universal principles. And it started working. Because you can never be against the laws of nature. You can only be for it. God put this system in place for a reason. Right? So even atheists are just atheists by theory. There is no practical atheists. Everybody is under a particular system placed in this earth realm by God, right? So it's a system that is governed by universal principles and laws. So it's just for you to work it. Right. And then we started working it, and I said to him, and in 2023, I noticed that something was about to happen again. And I got a download before then that said to me, buy 4 cars. Keep it somewhere. You are going to need them. And I was like, need them for what? But I did. I bought 4 cars and I kept them somewhere. And I didn't get plate numbers for them. I just kept them there. I said, you are going to need them. So by 2023, I noticed that the graph was going like this again. And I said, And I got a voice that said, do you know why I told you to buy 4 cars? I said, it's because of now. Now buy this, now these 4 cars, sell them. Sell them. Invest the money in something that would produce money for you every day. And then go to social media and start teaching people. And you will never crash again. And that was exactly what I did. And in 2023, I said, I'm no longer afraid. I'm going to teach people what I know, what has worked for me. And I thought I was going to be met with backlash. But guess what? I was like, why are people receiving this thing like this? Like, okay, Nigerians are not that close-minded as I thought. And since then, guess what? It's been, before now, you will have money and blow millions for 1 year and you will crash for another 6 months. But from 2023, that we published the first book, I think is there. And 2024 that we published Transform Your Life, it's been from one level of growth to another. You know, yesterday when I was having dinner with Tolashe and Abimbola and Abdubari, my brother, and I said, these guys actually came from the US, from the UK, from France. There's someone else that came from North Africa that had to leave yesterday. This weekend was their first time meeting me in my life. They don't know me from anywhere. They knew me on social media. So the principle I introduce to people is a principle that I have tried. It is not mine. It works. And I'm not an atheist. Yeah, it works. Because these are principles and systems planted by God so that you don't have to disturb God every morning. Father, remember me. It doesn't forget people. So you don't have to bug him with all this typical African nonsense. Typical, perspective of God that is mediocre. That's why God said, let me put this system in place. So the engineering that works, so you can work it and not have to just bother yourself. And one of them is the study of numbers. Let me tell you something you need to know about numbers. Numbers are superior to alphabets. Yes, because in science, engineering, the language that is spoken is the language of numbers, not alphabets. That's why in all of these sciences, you don't see people speak typical English or Yoruba or this and that. They do calculations, algorithms. You see physics, you see chemistry, you see multiplication, you see all of these advanced mathematical calculations. Because everything is found on the universal system of numbers. There are several other esoteric knowledge, but numbers is something that, because since that's where we started from. You have to get to a place where you don't live your life to chance. Because God doesn't want you to. I am not waiting for any spirit to tell me anything. I know everything I'm meant to do in the next 5 years. I know them. Because I have discovered a tool that works. It is not my God. It's not an idol. It's a tool. The same way you drive your car as a tool that takes you from one place to another. That's the way I use numbers, as a tool. Now, if I ask a lot of people here, what's your identity? Like, who are you? Pious, who are you? Now, the common answer that you get from most people is, I am a royal priesthood. I am a king without crown and throne. I am a queen. I am a princess. I am a chosen. All of these labels they are not clear. Like anybody can, everybody here, we are all coins here, right? Everybody is a king. Where is your palace? Where, where is your crown? Where is your staff? But if you ask me who I am, based on my identity and knowledge of numbers, I am going to tell you, I am a communicator. I'm a creator. That's my nature, based on my numbers. Meaning, I have to keep communicating and creating because that's who I am. So what do I do with my nature? I nurture my nature. So what does that mean? I have to keep talking, and I have to keep creating. I have to keep coming up with ideas, innovations, right? Because I know that I am not a royal priesthood of anywhere. I'm a creator and a communicator. So I am not living my life to chance. I like what, Oyedepo said something very profound. He said, if you live your life to chance, you're going to become a casualty. So that's the difference between people who are living intentionally and people who are living their life to chance. That's why they always need miracles. Miracles to pay their rent, miracles to buy a car, miracle to marry, looking for miracle husband, miracle wife, everything miracle, 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 because they live their lives to chance, right? So by virtue of knowing my numbers, I know what my identity is. Who are you? I am a communicator. I am an orator, right? I'm a creator. I express my creativity and communication this way. You know why? Because my purpose is that of a mystic teacher by virtue of my number. So what I'm telling you, if you can improvise and integrate all of these dimensions into your life, when you are relating with God, even God will be happy with you. Like, this one doesn't even stress me too much. This one is not a charlatan, always calling me when it is. You know what I mean? You call your father every now and then and shout on him, please help me, daddy. Please help me. One day your father will say, are you using your brain? Because I know that the moment I discover my identity by virtue of my numbers, then I move into pursuing my purpose, which is my life path number. Sorry, I like to use the board. We always want to make sure that we don't just make it a conference, so you can live here, not just with excitement, but with practical tools that you can use, right, to manage and architecture your life part-time. Of course, like I said, there are tools. This is not an idol. This is a tool. Because the problem we have in 21st century, 2025, is there are too many spiritual charlatans on social media. Right? Carry calabash on your head. I'll go to the river. I'll do it for you. Your life is okay. So they are not given to knowledge. So I am teaching you the academic, scientific, philosophical, psychological aspect of numbers. Spiritual explanation of numbers. Established by the cosmic intelligence that created everything that you can see and that you cannot see. That governs the seen and the unseen world. So you are not one of those confused people who are just walking through life and waiting for a Messiah. Walking through life and waiting for 2027 to come so that they can now have a great life in Nigeria. So what's the first thing I said? I mentioned your identity, right? Your identity. When you master these 5 energy centers, aspects of your life, listen to me. I have seen people, and I'm telling you, one of the reasons why I told myself I'll continue to do what I'm doing is the fact that people have told me how they were in a particular position 9 months ago, down to nothing. And they started applying their principles. And, because a lot of people think that you don't have to leave your religion. Religion is a part of life. Yeah. Religion is not the problem. People are the problem. Religion is like a gun. Religion does not kill people. People kill people. When you load a gun, right, and you drop it here, it can't kill nobody here. So religion in the hand of an ignorant charlatan is a weapon of destruction. But religion in the hand of a conscious person is a tool that they can use, right, as a catalyst to advance their spirituality. Because you can't compare a person who prays 5 times or they observe all their religious rites with consciousness with a person who is claiming, I am now spiritual. I don't do religion again, but they do nothing. They practice nothing. Religion promotes the idea of rituals. Rituals and routines. I have said this a million times, and I said to people, I said, there are some people who will never succeed without religion. They need religion to be anything in life. Because religion gives you that military regimen approach to life. And I've seen people who applied principles, who were down to nothing. I've told you someone's story. She even said it herself, because I said one of the things we don't like to do is to start sharing testimonies. Because that's one of the scams they use in this part of the world. Because the day there is no testimony, then we have to call Sister Colette. Sister Colette, can you just help us? Yeah, so arrange something. But we have seen people on the comment section on social media who by themselves said they could not even pay 195,000 naira for a master class in December, right? She lives in the UK. And I jokingly said she was in the UK, but she was not okay. And she had to borrow money from someone in Nigeria to pay for a 195,000 naira master class. Naira. But by February of this year, we had an event in February. She donated 500,000 naira. And I said, what? And she said, no, if this thing is working, I want to learn more. I want to be, I need one-to-one. Everything she wrote on her vision board, she's accomplished like 80% of them. I want to be able to travel out of the UK to America, to some countries. Every bill paid to go and teach master classes. She's going to the US this August. Someone just called and said, we want you to come and organize. Listen, this is not just a conference. This is something that is going to help you architecture the life that you want. And in the next 12 months, you are going to be shocked what's going to happen to you. Because I have seen it literally, clearly, what has happened to people. And I hear testimonies every day. I was telling them in the community, I said, every time people are telling me, I manifested a car. When are you going to manifest a spaceship? Because manifesting a car has become more or less like, is the cheapest thing. Because guess what? Now, people are beginning to know themselves better. So the first path to a miraculous life is to know who you are. Identity. Not an identity built on ambiguous, uncertain vocabularies. I am the king, I am the queen, I am the prince, I am the princess. No, those are built on your energy center of your identity, of your character traits, of your nature. Because when you know that, what do? You start nurturing that nature, right? So what do? Anytime I have the opportunity to speak, I grab it. Because when I do that, you know what I'm doing? I am nurturing my nature. That's what I'm doing. Because it has become a tool, so I'm not leaving it to chance. Because there's a difference now between spirituality and spiritism. So most of the things you see on TikTok, they are just spiritism. Oh, you have a spiritual wife, every month you have to carry something and go and feed her. Really? I have to stress myself every month to please my spiritual wife? Don't worry, she is free to come to my house every night. Let her come to my house every night. We have a good time. Let her go back. But I will go to the market, buy this, and for one spiritual wife, no, that's not spirituality. That's spiritism. And the majority of people out there who are claiming, I have left religion, they are into spiritism. A kind of slavery that is worse than the religion they criticize. I want to make sure I help you strike the balance. So you don't become an angry person who is just upset with your parents because they did some things to you didn't like. Or, you know, the church took your money for 16 years and now you are angry. So you can function from the place of knowledge. Because now you know what? You know your number one energy center, your nature, your identity, which you are going to nurture. And that's what separates you from others, right? Because that's your energy center. You can't separate your birthday from yourself. And this is not astrological nonsense. This is deep, hardcore, authentic spirituality. It is a tool. You are the one using it, right? You worship nothing. Right. You don't idolize anything. You know, so I see on TikTok a lot of these sessions where you see somebody just giving people their numbers. What's your date of birth? My date of birth is 9. This is going to happen to you. Bah! Next person. What's... So you see. So the person, yes, but this is what... So that's all those shenanigans. It's rubbish. Right? So the people who know me, they know that I am going to take my time and use everything you understand. I'll use the Bible, I'll use the Quran, I'll use everything to explain to you first. Because if you don't understand it, you're going to idolize it. People idolize what they don't understand. And you're not meant to worship nature. You don't worship anything outside of yourself. The only person you align with is God, right? The source, the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, energy source. That's it. So you see, with the African Renaissance and the awakening that is taking place now, people are now jumping from fry pan to fire. So much confusion all over the place. You know, and this is why several times I've heard people say, this person is also saying something like what you are saying. Maybe you guys should meet. And I'm like, no, we don't have to meet. So what do? You nurture your nature. Because the first path to the miraculous life is to what? Nurture your nature. There are people right now who you are actually meant to be designing. Yeah, you are meant to be designing clothes. There are people right now, you are meant to be creating content. But you know me, I don't like all these social media things. But you are meant to use social media as a weapon, as a catalyst to put yourself and spread your message, because people need to hear you. You know why people are imploding? I know people who, they are so gifted, but they are angry. Do you know why? Because they think that they have so much to offer the world, but there is no platform for expression. So you think you have a headache, you have this menstrual cycle pain, this pain, that pain. Many times it is not your physical problem. It is frustration from the fact that, because when you don't nurture your nature, you are starving your nature, right? Whatever you don't nurture, you starve. So your nature is suffering from kwashoko. So you see, so you nurture your nature. That's the first thing. When you discover your identity. I was born on the 12th of August, right? So 1 plus 2 is what? 3. 3 is what? Communication, creativity. So I am a communicator. There is nothing demonic about that. The same numbers you use everywhere is established in your Bible, in the Quran, is established everywhere in Buddhism. Numbers are the language of the universe. Nikola Tesla, if you want to understand the secret of the universe, think energy, think vibration, think frequency. So energy is not the physical exertion. I go to work every day, I come back. No. Energy first begins from the place of your essence. And so you see, a lot of people think if they start speaking their truth, that does not work. They have to resume in a place in the morning and close at night. To them, that is work. No. Real work, you know what work is? The etymology of work. Work is becoming who you are. You know that's the definition of work. Work is actually becoming who you are. How do you become who you are? By living from your essence. It's frequency, not force. I force nothing. My mother I have not slept for like maybe a week. I'm going to sleep after all this, yeah. But I can stay up all night just because I want to achieve something. But you know, I don't consider it as hard work. For me, it is just work. Then my mother will say, leave him, he's very lazy. He will not carry anything. He will do it when he wants to do it. She doesn't understand how I operate, right? Because I don't function by the system and the chronology and the calendar of the world. Because I know that as long as I nurture my nature, that's the first path to the miraculous. When you nurture your nature, you don't need any external entity to come and perform any miracle for you. You become a miracle worker of yourself. That's what you do. Because what is miracle? Miracle is not the intervention of any entity you don't understand. Miracle is discovering what works and working it. So you discover what works, and then what do you do with that? You work it. And then takes us to the next thing. Number 2, your purpose. Your energy center of purpose. Let me tell you something. If you can work with these 5 elements, with these 5 energy centers, you are settled. You don't have to tell anybody. When you leave here, don't tell anybody. Just keep it to yourself and just be living your life. Because you are the 5 elements, right? You are the 5th element. So when you hear all the concepts of element, fire, water, earth, air, right? So the 5th one is the spirit, and you are the spirit. And this is why you don't worship water, you don't worship fire, you don't worship air. Even if you burn incense, which is a combination of fire and air, right? Without you, it is nothing. Because you are the 5th element, you are the spirit. It is your involvement in that process that makes it effective. So you see. So carrying calabash to the river is nothing. Except your spirit agrees with that process, that I know what I'm doing and I want to achieve something with it. Your energy center of your purpose is a combination of your identity. So people ask me a lot, so how do I discover my purpose? I say, start doing, I want to know who I am. Best way to know who you are is to pursue your purpose. There is no formula. Sorry, my handwriting looks like that of a doctor, but I hope you can see. So there is no special formula to knowing who you are, your identity, right? There is no special formula because people make it look like, if you want to know who you are, you have to do. If you know, even without the study of numbers, that there is something that comes to you naturally, maybe it is writing, speaking, designing, administration, right? Maybe it is, you just know how to relate well with children. You know how to dress well. You're stylish. Some people have become relevant and influential just because they are stylish. Do you think that Ebuka is getting Big Brother because he knows how to speak? His stylishness is part of the reasons why he has become relevant. So you see. So the moment you discover that part of you and you walk in it, you pursue it, what you are doing is you are nurturing your nature, because your purpose, your life path is a combination of your nature. Your day of birth plus your month of birth plus your year of birth. That's what it is. So I am a master number 11, right? Mystic teacher. Inspirational leader. Don't I look like that? Don't I behave like that? They said the reflection of the light is not making them see the board. But don't worry, let's go ahead. So pursuing your purpose is also nurturing your nature. Activists. Some people, activism is your path to discovering who you are. And when I say activism, I mean speaking for those who can't speak for themselves. I'm not talking about this Nigerian commercial activism. Rosa Parks in America was on the bus at a time when there was separation between blacks and whites. And a black person was not meant to sit in the bus. And Rosa Parks said she's going to sit on the bus. And there was an uproar. And what happens? Historically, when we talk about human rights activism in America during the civil rights movement, you can't talk about it without mentioning who? And it was because of that action that she became influential. So you see, it was living from her essence that gave her the notoriety and the influence. Degrees are good. Sometimes I regret the monies I spent on all those things. Honestly, yeah, but it's all good. But it is living from your essence that makes you an icon to be reckoned with. It wasn't a degree that made Rosa Parks. It wasn't a degree that made Malcolm X become so influential that now they have one of the postal offices in the US. It is his picture that it carries. It wasn't. It's the fact that these people actually pursued their purpose. The establishment, the system is afraid of you pursuing your purpose. As long as you are distracted, the system is okay. Be distracted, waste your time, right? Watch Big Brother Naija, chase clouds. The system is okay with that. But the moment you say to yourself that I am now going to start pursuing, because it is in pursuing your purpose that you discover your identity and you nurture it, and then you discover your month of birth, your tribe. Your tribe, like one of the kids, they are going to bring her later, was born on August 12, just like me. And I didn't know her from anywhere. When her mother introduced her to me last year, she just liked me. Because guess what? She's my tribe. She belongs to my frequency family. Right. So it is here you know. So there are some people you meet and you just don't like them. They didn't do anything to you. And you are wondering why. There is no explanation. They don't belong to your frequency family because everything is an energy vibrating what? A frequency. So you carry within you, I don't like a vibe. You don't belong to the same frequency. And then you have your year of birth, which is your generation. Gen Zs, no matter how special you think you are or unique as a Gen Z, there are similarities between you and every other Gen Z. Of course, so when they say that the Gen Zs are the Sorosoke generation who don't listen to nobody, no matter how unique your Gen Z child is, they also have drops of that in them. Because you cannot deny your generation. So now what do you do with that? You study the character traits of your generation. You were born in 1970. What are the character traits of people born in that year or that period? What are the character traits? This is what a lot of the people, the CEOs, the Fortune 500 company CEOs, the Elon Musk and co., these are the principles they use to rule and govern the world. A lot of us, you don't even know anything about your generation. So when they say, you are going to affect your generation, people say, amen. So what is your generation? So you see, so most things that we are taught, they are ambiguous. Nobody is explaining. They just give it to you. You run with confusion. No explanation. When I said I am going to impact my generation, I am saying I'm going to impact the year I was born, the spectrum. Like Gen Zs are what year to what year now?
1996 to about 2009 to 10.
So you see the window, that spectrum, there is the characteristics of everybody born with it. Whether you are quiet, it doesn't matter. You are going to carry within you character traits of the people that were born. So how do you now say you are going to affect your generation? You study the characteristics, right? And then you function as an entity and an individual within the spectrum of that generation, and that's how you become a notable person. That's it. So there's no ambiguity, no confusion. So leaving everything to a spirit that will tell you until God tells me I will not move, you will stay there till you die. God has already told you. You are the one who is not moving. God has told you with the principles and systems he has put in place. So people who say that, people who move are regarded sometimes as people who are atheists. They are not atheists. They just function by the systems that God has put in place. But then, until you say, God, 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 then you are not an atheist. No, you can say God, 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 and yet Arsenal is your God. Most men, Arsenal is their God, not God. They are not. They are actually theoretical atheists, if you can put it that way. Now, next thing. Listen, guys, if you can go, see, the reason I'm doing this is because I want you, by next year, when we have the 3rd edition of this, right? The same thing that many people are saying right now, that their life changed since the 1st edition. You are going to be able to say that between now and 9 months. It doesn't take more than 3 to 6 to 9 months to transform your life. Because 9 is the end of a cycle. So crying about 5,000 naira 2 years ago, you are still crying about it now. Something is wrong with you. If you are crying about 5,000 2 years ago, you should be crying about 2 million naira now. Your problem should be, as you evolve, so should your problems. I was talking to a friend of mine who said, he started a real estate company, less than 2 years. Now he has 5 projects. And there was a day he came to the estate and drove and said, Mr. Femi, I need you to advise me. There is a joint venture we want to do. I want to die. I'm so unhappy. And I need so amount of money. If I don't get 300 million in one week, something is going to happen. And I said, listen, I knew you when you were looking for 30,000 naira. So you came to me now, you think I'm going to start sitting down with you and running pity party. You are meant to go and start sharing testimony. I am so happy with my life. There was a time I needed 30K, I couldn't have it. Now I need 300 million naira. Because even your need is a sign that you are growing. Because needs are a part of human nature. It's part of your journey. See, misguided religion is what makes you think that because you have a need, your life is not working. You are meant to have needs till you die. Because it is your need that helps you to propel yourself to the miraculous. You are meant to always have needs. Yeah. Because your need, especially when they are genuine, you are not meant to have wants, you are meant to have needs, right? So in pursuing your purpose, you are going to have needs, right? Because needs would open you up to the limitlessness of the infiniteness of God. So now you are, okay, we have a lot of virtual assistants, and then we have physical staff, like 6. So now I was telling them that because when it comes to online, currently we have over 200 people watching us online, right? On one platform. The other platform, maybe everything will be like total, maybe like 400 watching, right? There was a time that I didn't need more than 1-2 people. There was time that it was just me and Ibro that were doing everything. But it can't be that way. So guess what? Pursuing my purpose has activated higher levels of needs. So you see the mistake people make? They judge their current position by the need, not knowing that that need is meant to be the catalyst that opens you up. And then you start praying, God, please, I need... Even sickness. Circumstances. When you start pursuing your purpose, you know what happens? You are shielded and protected from witches, all these witches and wizards theories. As a governor of a state or president, nobody can arrest you. By virtue of your office, you have immunity. By virtue of pursuing your purpose, you have immunity. So if I'm flying, I know that there are a lot of things I'm still meant to do, so I cannot die. Until I get to the point where I know that, okay, I've done it, and I'm satisfied, and I'm fulfilled within me that I have fulfilled my soul contract, right? Anything that wants to happen, let it happen. Because you are granted immunity by virtue of pursuing your purpose. And then it takes us to the next thing, number 3. Which is your what? Your destiny. Destiny what? Destiny expression. If you are a business person, this is what I teach corporate organizations. Because if you don't understand the esoteric aspect of branding, I have been told several times by people who want to brand me that don't worry about that. I'm into spiritual branding. I have Hebrew, right? Don't worry, we'll talk. Because you can't tell me I have to always dress a certain way in the name of branding. That guy, what's his name? They will use some people as examples. You see the way he dresses every time, he's always on this red cap. You have to study me first. I am not wired like that. Based on my nature, my purpose, I am meant to express that purpose a certain way, not like any other person. It doesn't matter the result they are commanding. I just have to do me, right? So you see, the first thing here is who are you? That's the question. The most popular question on the street of Abuja. Who are you? And then this is, why are you here? So you don't end up like every other person. And then guess what? This is important. This is important. But listen to me. When I have politicians on my clientele, right? So I always tell them, you people are liars. So I know you will never tell me your real age because you are liars. But I don't need your real age. I just need to know your name. Then I'm going to be able to develop a system you are going to use as a tool to become anything you want to become in your political career. Because the moment I know how, this is the question everybody is asking. Verbally or not verbally. Everybody is asking, how do I? Because they don't know how. They know that there's something great about them. They know they have a great mission, but they don't know how to pursue their purpose whilst nurturing their nature. They don't know. But this is what gives you that expo. So what is my, let me use myself as, what is my destiny number by virtue of my name? It is the energy of 8, right? You know, I told you that numerology is the study of, is the spirit science study of numbers, the esoteric meaning of numbers. So numbers are not just figures. Numbers are energy fields vibrating a frequency. And there's nothing demonic about it because you are a product of numbers. Your thumbprint, when you go there and you press your thumbprint and it shows, right? It translates into numbers, serial numbers, right? And that's how they are able to let you have access. So numbers are the language of the universe. So it is a tool that you use. You master it to run your life. So you are not praying from morning till night and crying and allowing people to use you as a victim. So as an 8 destiny, for instance, I know that whatever I do, I must create an entrepreneurship system. So how are we able to organize an event like this without begging anybody for money? Because there is an entrepreneurship system that funds it. Because 8 is the number of power. Because 8 is the number of money. 8 is the number of manifestation. Right? We are in the 8th season right now. Right? The 8th month, Lionsgate portal. Right. So 8 is a number that does not chase or beg. It creates its own economic system. So that if anybody has to support what I am doing, I did not beg them. So you see, it's different from yours. If yours is 7, there is introspection. It means that you need to be an introspective person. Because that's your how to now do all this. So you see, it's not all these TikTok spirituality jargons they are telling people. This is deep spiritual, academic, psychological work that you must do and then wield this weapon to run your life and become the most authentic version of yourself. So if you are a 1 destiny, for instance, what are you meant to do? It simply means you don't wait to be led, you lead. That's how you become your authentic self, and then you pursue your purpose. So this is the main thing. How? This is your sword of destiny. This is your Achilles sword. Because guess what is happening to many people right now? They are using someone else's sword to fight their battle. You will never win. So when you study the Vikings, a Viking is nothing without his or her sword. So when a Viking dies, what do? Please, they will beg their enemies. If a Viking dies without his or her sword, they will go and beg the people that killed them. If they have to sacrifice the whole army, we need the person's sword so we can bury them with their sword. So you are meant to die with your sword. After you have used it, right? So you wield it, you use it, and then you die with your sword. So when a Viking dies, they have their sword buried with them like this. So what do you do with this? Since you have to nurture your nature, pursue your purpose, you are meant to sharpen your sword. So for a person like me, who's by virtue of my name, my destiny number is 8, right? What do? I have to make sure every now and then I am building entrepreneurial systems. I am thinking of how to monetize. Because I am not meant to beg people for money. I am not meant to write letter of financial support. I'm not meant to do it. Some people are meant to do it by virtue of their... Yeah, some people are meant to actually seek support. But I am not meant to. I am not meant to prospect in business. So I don't prospect in real estate. If I tell you, for instance, and you tell me, Femi, I'll get back to you end of the month, I will not call you. If you don't call me, I'll leave it like that. And every time that I try to, let it not look like I am proud, let me call, it was an embarrassment. But you don't have to be like that. So meaning you have to discover your own and then wield your weapon. Sharpen your sword and then use your sword, because life is a battle. Job chapter 7 verse 1. All the days of man on earth is warfare. That's what it says. Peace is an illusion. You are here to fight. So without your own sword, you have lost. Just know that. And this is the tool that gives you that. And that takes us to the fourth thing. Your soul urge number. Your first energy center, the path to the miraculous, is your knowing your nature and nurturing it. Second one, pursuing your purpose. Third one, sharpening your sword, your destiny. And then the fourth one is your soul urge, which is your what? Your heart's desire. What does your heart truly desire? I always tell people jokingly, and I say, the day that I am able to sit down and say, okay, for 1 year, I can attend a Ludovico concert and Zima's concerts, some of these other guys, I can attend their concerts and all the itineraries for the year, mostly in Europe, and attend every year without thinking about whether I have accomplished, I am successful in life. That is better than buying a Porsche for me. That's me. Right? Because based on my soul urge, that is what my heart desires. Some people need to be like Davido and buy all the expensive cars. Their soul actually desire material things. And for a lot of times, it is not vanity. It is just that they desire, because traveling to different countries for concerts would also be tagged vanity. Because why are you spending that money when there are poor people? If you are saying Davido is spending money on cars and he cannot help poor people, why are you spending 10 million naira going to go and watch classical music when there are poor people? So we all don't want the same thing. When you understand your soul and you function from the office of your soul, you are not going to be in competition with nobody. Because you are not looking for what they are looking for. And what do you do with this? You function. This is your functionality. You are meant to function from the office of your soul. That's why in numerology, how do you know your soul urge number? The vowels in your name. So when you say the vowels, what does it mean? Breath, right? The breath of life. Because the air that you breathe is not just air, it is your breath of life. When a person gives up, they say they gave up the ghost, meaning they stopped breathing, right? So the day a person stops breathing, they stop functioning. So there are people who are walking corpse. They are still working with their body, but they have stopped functioning because they are disconnected from their soul, from their heart desire. So they are ruled by their wants, not their needs, right? So that's why they have to steal and cheat and be corrupt and lie because they are disconnected from their soul. And that takes us to the last one, right? Are you enjoying it? The last one is your personality. And your personality is... Everything here is very important, but your personality is actually the most important. You know why? People judge you right? By your personality. So my personality is a 5. And what is 5? 5 is a number of a people person, an adventurer, right? A jolly good fellow who carries everybody along. So what do I do with that? I am developing my personality. So you develop, that's what you do with this. So you develop the right qualities and traits necessary for you to be the authentic version of your personality. Because your personality is how people perceive you. So if you like, be a king here, be a senator here, be a gladiator here, be a spiritual whatever here. If your personality is ugly, forget about all these other things. Nobody cares. Your personality is your aura, is your auric field. You are an energy field vibrating a frequency. I am an energy field vibrating a frequency. So if the frequency is wrong, everything is wrong. Nobody cares about my mission or how eloquent I am if my personality is smelly. I have seen a lot of people and I've spoken to a lot of people who they have so much to offer. But every time people say the same thing, I just don't like listening to him. I don't like the energy. That's what you hear. I don't like the energy. I don't like. Something is wrong. It's not about people, it's you. There's something you need to work on about your personality. You know, and this is why we always recommend the art of water ritual. When you are taking your bath, you are actually meant to speak to the different centers of your body. Because your body, your gesticulation, how you carry yourself, is meant to represent your purpose in life. So you can have a great purpose, a great assignment, and yet the way you carry yourself projects you as a nasty, rude, disrespectful person. So nobody will listen to you. Yet you have such a great gift, such a great skill to offer people, but yet they don't care. They don't want to do business with you because you are not a thief, but when they see you, I suspect that she's a thief. But you are not a thief. This one look like prostitute, but you are not a... Your body count is probably 1 or 0. She's like a prostitute. Something is wrong with your aura. And God has given you an instrument, which is your voice, that you can use. Doctor, welcome. That you can use to reset and reshape and cleanse your auric field. Auric field. Dr. Christos is the Vice Chancellor of the Chris Lead Faculty of Mine Engineering. Your personality is a perfect example of somebody who has, over time, worked on his personality. Let me tell you something that you need to know as I close this session. When they say talent is not enough, one of the things they are referring to is that all of these are not enough. This, you don't have to be as talented as Dr. Christos. You don't have to be as talented as me. But you have to... Good afternoon. Princess, good afternoon. But you have to develop a personality that is in alignment with all of this. And guess what? You are going to command better results than those who are more gifted and talented than you. Davido. I play 7 instruments. Yeah. Clap for me. It's not easy. And nobody taught me. I just carried them and started playing them. So I know about music, right? When it comes to music dexterity, when it comes to vocal dexterity, right? Davido is not there. Yeah. Davido is not, his voice is not, yeah. Eh? His fans were, because they don't know about music. I love, even me that I am aware that vocal-wise he's not there. I prefer him, guess what? His aura. So there are musicians who are 1 million times better than Davido, right? But his fan base is bigger, right? Because people come, there is this thing about him that people want to go to him. That's an aura. So when they say talent is not enough, because for those of you who have put together your sign and seal letter to the universe that we did on the 8th of August, every intention you have written down, if they are not powered by these 5 elements, sometimes your manifestation would happen and you won't even know it has happened. And then you misused the opportunity. Sometimes the person who is meant to connect you to the next level, you will be rude to them. Sometimes because you want to sound like you are a big person on social media, you will be insulting people who can feed you and buy you and give you change. And then people, listen, every human is relating with you based on your energy, not your body. It's your subtle body. Because you don't just have a physical body, you have a subtle body, which is the body of your soul, right? Every religion would tell you there is a triangular form of existence, which is the spirit, the soul, and the body, right? So this body, fine, it is good, take care of it. But I am connecting with you. Even as I speak, I can connect with you based on your subtle body. And people judge you based on your subtle body. So it's not because somebody was saying, that Dr. Christos, I just like him. He is fine. And I said, yeah, he's good. He's a fine boy. But it's not just because he is a fine boy. He has a fine personality. And sometimes you have to work on your personality. You have to work on your aura. I don't care. That's who I am. Let them go away. And tomorrow you will come and meet them. I am doing this. I just need, subscribe to my this, patronize me. How? But you just told them you don't care what they think about you. Go and deal with angels and spirits. It is the integration of these 5 energy centers that will transform your life. With this few points of mine, I hope I have been able to convince you that developing your personality is better than grandstanding like Portable.